tinned fish or canned fish is not just about tuna. Before we jump in, if you like what we're doing here at the Dr. Gundry podcast, please don't forget to like and subscribe. And most importantly, share this with your friends and loved ones. Now, not only is tinned fish or canned fish convenient, affordable, and shelf-stable, but many varieties of canned fish are absolutely packed with protein, long-chain omega-3 fats, vitamins, and minerals. In fact, some nutrition experts call tinned fish one of the most underrated superfoods you can buy, and I certainly agree with that. Today, I want to share the best tinned fish for your health, how to choose wisely, and why this old-fashioned pantry staple deserves a place in your modern diet. So why are most of these canned fish and shellfish a health powerhouse? Well, most of these small fishes are loaded with long-chain omega-3 fatty acids like EPA and DHA. Now, both of these reduce inflammation, they absolutely support brain health, and they protect your heart. In fact, DHA, one of these fats, is half of the fat in our brains. And studies show that people who have the highest omega-3 index, which looks at the amount of EPA and DHA in your diet for 2 months prior to the test, people who have the highest omega-3 index have, get ready for this, the biggest brains and the biggest areas of memory in their brains, the hippocampus. People who have the lowest omega-3 index have the most shrunken brains, seriously, and the smallest areas of memory. So when mom told you that fish was brain food, she didn't exactly know why, but now you do. Canned fish and shellfish has usually a lot of protein, 20 to 25 grams per can in many varieties, and it's a complete, highly bioavailable source. In fact, if you're worried about protein, fish beats any other way to get your protein for 2 reasons. Number one, it is protein that does not carry that mischievous sugar molecule Nu-5GC that's present in animal proteins like beef, lamb, and pork, or in milk, including whey protein. It's the same sugar molecule that you have, Nu-5AC, so there's no danger when you eat fish and shellfish. Now, they also are rich in minerals. When you eat small fish with the bones, like sardines, you get a rich source of calcium, phosphorus, and magnesium. Believe it or not, tinned fish like sardines and salmon are among the best natural sources of vitamin D, which most people are deficient in. And here's the best part. Canned fish can often be lower in mercury than fresh, large fish, because most tin options are made from smaller species. So let's talk about some in specific. Sardines. Now, this is one of the most nutrient-dense foods on the planet. They're loaded with omega-3s, vitamin D, calcium, and protein. They're very low in mercury since sardines are small and low on the food chain. Now, they're really easy to enjoy, straight from the tin, on crackers, the right kind, of course, or mixed into salads. The thing I like about sardines, and I see tinned sardines on so many menus in Europe, they literally bring you out a tin of sardines, along with other goodies, that there's a reason for that. In my patients, the only patients who have ever been able to get a normal omega-3 index without taking omega-3 supplements are people who are daily sardine or herring or mackerel eaters. I have yet to see people from Vancouver or Seattle who eat huge amounts of salmon all week achieve an omega-3 index. It's the sardine, herring, and mackerel eaters that do it all the time. Speaking of which, mackerel. Now, mackerel is higher in fat than sardines, but that's a good thing. It's rich in these anti-inflammatory omega-3s, so it's especially great for your brain and heart health. Now, look for the smaller varieties, like Atlantic mackerel, rather than king mackerel, which can be higher in mercury. Now, mackerel is an interesting choice. It is incredibly popular in Europe, particularly Northern Europe and the Norway, Finland countries. Many Americans don't particularly like the fishy taste of mackerel, but give it a try. Speaking of fishy taste, anchovies. These guys are tiny, salty, and packed with flavor. In fact, if you like Caesar salad, guess where that flavor came from? It was anchovies. Interestingly enough, one of the longest living people in the world, the Acciarolis, a little town that I visited south of Naples in Italy, eat anchovies for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. In fact, it's their number one food. And anchovies are an excellent source of calcium and protein as well. So anchovies are perfect for tossing into salads, sauces, and dressings. Now, they practically disappear while boosting nutrition. And every time you say you hate anchovies, just remember, that's the flavor that you're actually getting in a true Caesar salad. They've just been blended in. So you're getting that salty, umami taste that you actually like. Salmon. Well, everybody knows that salmon is rich in omega-3s and vitamin D. But please look for the wild-caught varieties whenever possible. Now, canned salmon often includes the bones and skin, which is where much of the calcium and collagen comes from. So don't be afraid of it. Let's talk about shellfish, clams, oysters, and mussels. These are tinned shellfish. Now, oysters are one of the best sources of zinc, critical for immune system, that you can find. Mussels are rich in vitamin B12, iron, and manganese. Now, the great thing about mussels are that mussels are sustainable. They're low-mercury options that many people overlook. Clams and scallops are often frequently overlooked, but they're cheap. You can toss them into a salad. You can heat them up. You can eat them out of the can. Easy to do. Tuna. Now, this is probably the most popular canned fish worldwide. It's high in protein, about 20 to 25 grams per can, and it's a very good source of selenium and B vitamins. Now, the drawback, some types like albacore can be relatively high in mercury, but most canned tuna are light tuna or skipjack, which are young tuna, which tend to have much lower mercury levels compared to albacore or big eye. Now, here's a pro tip. Always choose tuna packed in olive oil or water instead of seed oils. Herring. Now, I mentioned these earlier. They're very similar to sardines nutritionally, but they're usually larger in size. They're also rich in omega-3 fatty acids, vitamin D, and selenium. Now, they're traditionally pickled or smoked, but canned herring can be a milder, easy-to-enjoy option. Like I said, they're excellent for brain and cardiovascular health. They're a fantastic, underrated alternative to salmon or mackerel. How about crab? Canned crab meat. Now, this is a lean, high-quality protein with fewer calories than most fish. It's an excellent source of zinc, copper, and vitamin B12. Now, it's lower in omega-3s compared to oily fish like sardines or salmon, but it's still a great addition for variety. Now, it's often sold in lump or claw meat, and having worked and lived in Baltimore for several years, I can tell you that crab meat works beautifully in crab cakes, salads, or stir fries. And it's readily available. In fact, one of my favorite places to buy it is at Costco. But be sure to check the label for additives or preservatives. Now, should they be organic? Well, remember, organic means they literally follow these fish or shellfish around to see what they're eating. No, you can't do that. If you see organic on the label, that means that these were farmed and they were fed organic corn and soybeans. So organic on the label doesn't mean you're getting what you really want. However, in shellfish, for instance, mussels and oysters and scallops, for the most part, are farmed. That means they were planted on rocks. That's as far as it goes. They ate what they found. So just when you see like farmed mussels, don't be put off. That's the way we raise them. Now, how much should you eat? With shellfish and fish in general, sometimes too much is too much. Shellfish and fish in general can promote increases in uric acid, which, among other things, causes gout. And I do have some patients who are very sensitive to uric acid and causing uric acid buildup by going crazy on fish and shellfish. But adding them to your diet several times a week is a great way to add quality protein, clean protein, and lots of omega-3s and other important vitamins and minerals like vitamin D and calcium. It's cheap, it's easy to find, and if you're looking for clean, beneficial protein, there's really not a better way to add it to your diet than tinned or canned fish or shellfish. More amazing episodes just like this one. Watch now. Chicken or duck liver is rich in vitamin A in its active form, B12, iron, folate, and high-quality protein.